I want to welcome everybody to our Friday in the kitchen. Today
Okay.
we are making lentil soup, which is an amazing, nourishing, hearty soup, especially in the winter when it's cold out. And if you're in the Toronto area, which I am, we got a big dump of snow yesterday. As a matter of fact, I needed to go out to get some canned tomatoes for my demo today because we're out, and it was like, "Ooh, I don't know that I want to go out." So I ended up just going to the corner store to get my canned tomatoes. And then my other option was probably, because I didn't want to go out driving, to get like Uber Eats to bring it in. My daughter
Okay.
usually does that stuff, but her classes were all canceled yesterday. She teaches dance, and their dance studio was closed because of the
Oh,
dump of snow we got. So we got a big dump. And so what
yeah.
I'm doing here is I have my garlic cloves that I am grating up so they're small. Using my microplane. I got a bunch of garlic, and I'm doing that first because we want to give the garlic a few minutes for the enzymes to start working. And there's this enzyme allicin that is where all the beautiful medicinal and nourishing properties of garlic come from. And if we don't let it get a chance to, once you, like if you open them up and you cut them or you grate them and you give them a little bit of time to rest, not much, just a few minutes, or I think 10 to 15 minutes. We might not get that much here because the show must go on, but this is how you make sure you're getting the most of your garlic. And if you don't have, oops, that one I think I have to get rid of. If you don't have garlic, fresh garlic, you can always use a garlic powder as well. And in our house, there's no such thing as too much garlic, I have to say. That's the way it works. Ah, I got it on the outside. All right, so I'm going to let that sit on the side, and I'm going to wash or wipe my hands because garlic is so sticky. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, this is my just put everything in the pot method. A lot of recipes, including this one, this is a family recipe that's been in our family for many, many years. And the recipe says to saute the onions, then add the garlic, then add the celery, then add the carrots, then add the liquid, then add more liquid, then add this, then add that. And my method is let's just dump everything into the pot. And so what I normally do is I put my pot on the stove and I turn the heat up to high, and I add my broth. Now this one you could use water, but I always find you get a fuller flavor by using a broth. And for me, I'm using an organic vegetable broth that I get at Superstore or Loblaws. It's the PC brand. So this is a Canadian brand. I like it. I've made my own, but I always seem to use so much broth that it's like I'm always making broth, and it's just easier. And this one is it's pretty much almost the same price as the non-organic. Some of the organic brands, you're spending $6, $7 for a liter or a quart. And I'm just going to add 2 of these 1 liter or 1 quart containers. So that gives me about 8 cups. And let me put this right into the recycle bin. And then what I can do is put this on the stove and fire up the stove to high to let it come to a boil. And usually what I do is I cut my vegetables up while I'm waiting, while that's going, and as they're ready, I put them in the pot. So you want to have about 1 onion. So I've diced up an onion to add that in. I've got celery, so I've got a cube of celery. I cubed my celery, so I just cut up and diced the celery. And I've got about 3 stalks of celery there. And I'm going to add some carrots. So I've diced again, cut up some carrots. My dog is here now. Oh, you can't see him. Oh, yeah, you can see him. Bear, where are you? There he is. He came running because he loves carrots. He hears that. Just going to add those in. We're letting that come to a boil. And then I'm going to leave the garlic so we can let it sit and get the flavor, not the flavors, but the enzymes going. And then I'm going to add a couple of cans of tomatoes. So I have these diced tomatoes. If you can get organic, that's the best. But I tried to get with no salt. And yesterday I was getting whatever I could from the corner store. So they're not, these ones are not, they're just what I could get. And, you know, I used to think that it was a big deal about using whatever the ingredients. And it's always good to use organic if you can. But I think it's better to make the soup than it is to not make the soup because you don't have organic. You know, you do your best that you can with the ingredients you have. And I think that's kind of also more of a nervous system friendly way of doing things. So I've got 2 cans. I'm using diced tomatoes. You can use regular tomatoes. I would cut them up, but I like just the diced is easier because it's already cut up for you. You can also use fresh tomatoes, even better. If you have fresh tomatoes, you can cut them up and do, you know, probably about 4 or 5 fresh tomatoes, maybe more. And you could just add them in. You don't need to cook them. They're going to cook in the soup, so that's perfect for them. For my spices, I have some rosemary. So I'm going to get this rosemary. I just put some in my hand, and rosemary comes, it's in little, it looks like little straw. So all I like to do is just kind of crunch it up so it's a little bit softer and not so much. I have taken the rosemary, put it in my Vitamix and pulped it into a powder. My kids don't really like the full rosemary when they get that. It's the texture of it, right? But it's okay. So we're going to add in the rosemary, and I'm going to add in some oregano as well. So I got some oregano. And you don't have to be skimpy on your spices. You can add them in. It's all good. I find that, especially with the plant-based cooking, making sure you have the spices to develop your flavors is good. And in my one pot, dump everything in method, I know that the reason why people add everything in layer after layer is to develop the flavors. But this is really simple, easy to do. And for me, the best way to develop the flavors is to simmer it long enough. So I usually simmer things longer than what the recipe calls for. So I have I'm going to put a little bit of salt in. I ran out of pink Himalaya salt, so this is Celtic sea salt that I'm using. We don't even have table salt in our house, so that's like a no-no for us. And my pot is almost to a boil. It's coming along really good. So we also I have lentils. So I have 1.5 cups of lentils. So I soak them for a bit and then I rinse them and wash them. One of the things with lentils, so these are green lentils. There are many varieties of lentils. You could use a brown lentil as well. We talked a little bit earlier about the red lentil, and the red lentils they cook a lot faster. They're very creamy. They're used, like I've used them in different soups. I have a nice cauliflower soup that uses the red lentil. But these ones will hold their shape a lot more in your soup. And when we're going to do, I think about at least half an hour to 45 minutes to simmer the soup. And the red lentils, they really will just make a cream in the broth, although it's maybe something to try. But I've got green lentils here that I've used. When you wash them, you want to be careful that sometimes there's like little stones and stuff in it. So you want to make sure that they're clean and that you wash them before you do. And it's always good to soak them if you have the time. So I'm going to add them in. And now I'm going to add in my garlic. It's sat long enough. And this makes a full pot. A full pot. In my house, that'll be gone in like 2, maybe 3 days. So here's the green lentils before you soak them. I've got here. Now, as an optional, you can add in some brown rice or some barley. Now, I've got my brown rice here. I did add it into the soup that I've already made to show as a demo, but I'm not going to add it to this. So you can add like a cup of brown rice as well, and just let it simmer with everything else. It will really thicken up your soup, and if it gets too thick, you can always add a little more water or broth to thin it out. And without the rice, it'll be a thinner soup. It's almost like when I add the rice, it almost makes it like a stew. And I like it that way, but if you don't like it that way, you can add more broth to it. And this is almost at a boil. So Helene, I think I'm gonna, I don't know if I should tempt fate and try my overhead.
Was it pearl or pot barley you used?
You would use the pearl barley, I think, if you were doing that.
Okay.
I'm gonna try this little webcam and see. You can see my soup. There it is, coming to a boil. And what I'm going to do is when that starts to boil or comes close to boiling, in a second, I am going to turn down to a medium-low heat. I'm going to do that now. And then I'll put it's almost coming to boil, and put my lid on. All right. And here is my completed soup, so you can see what it's like. And I think I let this boil for about an hour. You can see how thick it is. It's very thick here. And it's got the rice in it. Yum! And so we're going to let that other one boil for about an hour. Ooh, I'm going to go off here. All right. There. I'm back. All right. I've got my little webcam. I tried to use the webcam, but it's not, I don't like the quality of the picture. So let's taste our lentil soup and see if there's any questions. Is Esther, have you got your soup going? Oh, nice and hot. All right.
We made one that was very similar.
Did you?
And it's in the fridge still, so she wants us to finish it.
Oh yeah, you want to finish what you've got first.
Yeah, and then after we're gonna try this one.
Yeah. Does anybody else have different things that they put in their lentil soup?
Rice.
So this one is rice.
I told you she uses, what was it called? The bready rice or something? Some sort of rice.
Who's she?
You.
So this one is brown rice.
Stuff that you use. No? Was it rice?
I'm gonna give it a second to cool. Yeah. All right. One of the favorite things when I go to visit my mom is she gives me, she always makes lentil soup because she knows it's my favorite. And somehow it tastes better because my mom made it. She's like a magic. I remember back in the day when my kids were younger and we used to do things like Rice Krispie squares, which we don't do anymore for a number of reasons. I could never make my Rice Krispie squares as good as my mom, ever. So anyway, all right. And so actually, Esther, if you look at I'm going to just go, if you use the red lentils, they would be like pretty much disintegrated. And you can see that these lentils are still intact here. They're, as Gloria said, they're holding their shape.
Donna, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I just said my mom, I think she just puts 1 or 2 tomatoes, I think. I haven't really noticed the tomatoes, but she actually puts the whole carrot in the soup. She'll
Oh,
put the whole
cool.
carrot, like she'll put like 3, 4 carrots, and she boils it. So there's like a whole carrot sitting there for you. Yeah, that's how she does it. But it's
Ooh, that sounds
similar to
cool.
yours, but it's just yeah,
Does
yeah.
she
And she
use like
doesn't put
small carrots or?
no, the big ones. She'll cut it and she'll cut it in half. Usually it's a half a carrot. So it's a pretty big piece. And then she also sometimes when she's in the mood, she'll put a little bit of potato, but that's not whatever, that's not part of the recipe. Just a few times she's put in a little bit of potato but usually it's not. It's usually just like yours, like liquidy, a little liquidy. So yeah. But yeah,
Ooh,
she
the
puts the whole
potato is, she's a woman after my heart. I gotta say, I love potatoes.
yeah, yeah,
I've never
yeah.
put potatoes in my lentil soup, but I think it would be
Me
great.
too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what it does is potatoes make things creamier,
Yeah.
especially if you let
Yeah.
them boil. They'll
Sh-
thicken things
Yeah.
up. I make a gravy, a mushroom gravy, and I don't want to use flour to thicken it or cornstarch or something like that. I'll use potato and use that as my
Oh,
thickening
yeah, yeah, yeah.
agent. Yeah,
Yeah.
because what,
Yeah.
Uh,
It's not a regular thing for her to use potato. It just,
oh,
yeah, just I
oh,
found it
that
weird.
sounds so
Yeah. She
good.
doesn't use, yeah. Yeah. She doesn't use rice either. She doesn't use rice. I gotta tell her she could use rice. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't use rice
Yeah.
all the time. Um, the recipe that
Yeah.
we have comes with rice. And then one day my mom decided
Oh.
not to do it with rice. And she says, "Hey, Deb, look at what it tastes good without the rice." And that kind of became the new
We should try
standard
it. Yeah.
without the
Maybe
rice.
we'll try
That's
it with
why
rice.
I made a pot without the rice and one with,
my camera's on.
Yeah.
for sure. Any
Yeah.
questions or other comments from anybody? I better
Nope.
get your
Say
recipe
something.
now.